Bike videos shot in the third person are awesome to watch, but take a lot of time to make. Sometimes you just want to strap on a camera and catch some footage on your way down on a ride. Today, I'm going to look over 10 tips to make your POV footage look great. Tip number 1, get a GoPro 9 or 10. If you have a GoPro 8 or earlier, it is worth upgrading to a 9 or 10. Obviously, if you don't have a 9 or 10 yet, go for the 10. It's got the new processor, it's faster, it's smoother, but the 9 does just fine. Both offer great stabilization, but also have that horizon lock, which really helps when you're riding on POV to keep that horizon steady so you can really see the bike in motion. Tip number 2, get the max lens mod. The max lens mod gives a little bit wider of an angle, really utilizes that horizon lock even more. I think it turns out fantastic footage. I think it's worth the upgrade. Right now, the max lens mod fits both the GoPro 9 and the GoPro 10. The GoPro 10 needs a firmware update before the software will let you use it, but it's coming out probably in the next little while. It's October 2021 right now. That should come out in November maybe, but it really is worth it. I love the footage from the max lens mod. Worth the upgrade. Tip number 3, put some windscreens on your GoPro mics. It cuts down that distracting howling noise as you fly down the trails. You can buy the windscreens online. You can get big ones and cut them up. There are some specialty ones you can pay more money for that are specifically made for the GoPro. I just had an old windscreen lying around and I hacked it up and taped it on. But yeah, it really does make a difference and it's worth doing. Tip number 4, wipe your lens. If it's rainy or muddy, water can splatter up onto your lens and it makes for a really distracting mark that takes away from the experience. If you're riding out there and you get partway down a trail or you're coming to a break, just wipe your lens. You might save yourself tons of footage. Tip number 5, use a chest mount. The chest mount gives the viewer a perspective of the rider where they can see the handlebars and they can see the bike being maneuvered down the hill. The chest mount also has a good compromise between showing speed and showing steepness. Now, the GoPro effect almost all the time flattens a trail. With the chest mount, you get a little bit of perspective on the steepness, but it's low enough on the body that you also get a sense of speed. If you mount the camera up on top of your helmet, you'll get a little bit more steepness in your footage, but it'll really slow down the trail. Tip number 6, check your angles. When you get that chest mount on, don't forget you're going to be leaning forward. You want to get a good combination of seeing your bars, seeing a little bit of your top tube, but not so low that you don't get enough view of the trail or high enough to get a sense of the horizon from the skyline. So throw on that camera, do a little bit of a test run while you're standing up in riding position, and just make sure that the angles look how you want them to look. Tip number 7, put on a front mudguard. That front mudguard will stop that water and mud from getting up not only in your face, but also onto the camera lens. It makes a huge difference and allows you to capture footage even in wet and muddy conditions. I'll put a link in the description down below for a mudguard that I really like. It's one that bolts on, it doesn't require any zip ties, but there are tons of good ones out there. Any mudguard will really help capture footage, even in muddy and wet conditions. Tip number 8, follow a friend. Having someone in front of you ride adds so much more richness to your video. It makes it way more interesting for the viewer. Tip number 9, adjust your GoPro settings. GoPro out of the box isn't what you're going to need to capture really good footage. You're going to need to adjust the settings on your GoPro and then do a little bit of work in post-production using whatever tool you use to edit your videos. So let's walk through the settings I use and see if you like them. Okay, let's take a look at the settings here. As far as resolution and frames per second goes, with the max lens mod, at least on the GoPro 9, the max resolution you can get is 2.7K. Keeping in mind this is all for YouTube uploads, 2.7K is plenty. I know some record in 4K or 5K. Often when they go in post-production and produce their video, they'll actually bring it down. But 2.7K for YouTube is totally fine. Frames per second, people have different opinions on this one. I think 24 or 30 are the way to go. I actually like 30 the most. For me, it gives a fine balance between motion blur and having enough frames per second to handle the speed. I think filming in 60 or 120 is overkill, at least for POV. You're not really doing a lot of slow motion stuff typically. If you are, yeah, sure, go up to 60 frames per second. For me, I like 30. For the lens, I set it to max super view to get the widest frame, and max hyper smooth to on. Obviously, I love horizon lock. That's the whole point of the max lens mod. So I have horizon lock set to on. Scheduled capture duration, you can see here, often no limit. Moving down to Pro Tunes. So for the bit rate, I keep it on high. Shutter speed on auto. I let GoPro deal with that. For EV comp, I set it to -1. White balance for outdoor stuff when we're doing this POV, I set it to 5500 Kelvin. If you're doing indoor shots, if you take the max lens mod off and do any indoor shots, you're going to want to put that down to closer to 3000. But for outdoors, 5500, you can pretty much set it and forget it. On really bright days, maybe go up to 6000, but I just keep it on 5500. ISO max, I leave it on 100. ISO min, I put on 100. ISO max, I put up to 3200. As far as sharpness, I put it on low. I sharpen the image up in post-production. So I put sharpness down to low. Color I put to flat. Again, I do a little bit of color correction in post-production. So I leave the color flat and I handle it there. Audio, raw audio I set to high. Just try to get the highest quality audio I can from the GoPro mics. The wind I set to off. If you put on that wind feature for audio, I don't know, it sounds weird, so I just turn it off. Media mod, I don't have any external cameras, so just the camera mics is fine. And those are the settings I use. So again, with these settings, you are going to want to go in and do some post-production, and we'll touch on that next. Tip number 10, spend some time in post-production. I use DaVinci Resolve. There's a bunch of tools out there, but you're going to want to spend some time not only editing your clips, but adjusting the sound levels, doing a bit of color correction, basically adding a little bit of flavor to your clips. Now, you can spend a ton of time doing this, but just a few quick things will make a big difference to the quality of your video. I'm not going to go through exactly how I do my post-production work in this video. Maybe I'll do another one down the road. I'll put a link in the description down below for the Loam Ranger. He goes into a little bit on what he does for color correction and editing on DaVinci Resolve. It's a great video, so you can start there. If I post another clip of what I do, I'll add that later on to the description down below, but that might not come out for a while. There you have it. 10 tips on making your GoPro POV footage look amazing. If you like what I'm doing, please hit subscribe down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.